All right, in this explainer, we are diving deep into one of the most legendary, most epic duels ever written. A single elven king staring down the original source of all evil. Yeah, chances are you've seen some incredible art of this fight. It's unforgettable. But to really truly understand its impact, we need to go way beyond the clash of swords. We need to look at the absolute hopelessness that sparked it, and why this one single fight would echo through the ages. You see, to get why this duel even happened, we have to start right at the moment of absolute crushing despair that came before it. This wasn't some strategic move, it wasn't a calculated risk. No, it was a final, desperate, raw act of defiance. So let's just set the scene for a second. This isn't just a battle being lost. For all intents and purposes, the entire war feels over. The greatest armies have been completely shattered, alliances are broken, and hope is pretty much gone. This is the bleak, emotional world where our story really kicks off. This slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? The sheer imbalance of power here is staggering. On one side, you've got Fingolfin. He's a king, sure, but he's a king watching his entire world burn. On the other side, Morgoth. And let's be clear, this isn't just some villain. This is the original Dark Lord, an ancient evil with what seems like absolute power. The odds weren't just bad, they were impossible. And this right here is the absolute key to the whole story. Fingolfin's ride wasn't born from a clever strategy or some hidden hope for victory. No, it was born from the crushing, soul-destroying belief that everything was already lost. And that changes everything about how you see this duel. So what do you do when all hope is gone? When you're backed into a corner with nothing left to lose? Well, for Fingolfin, despair didn't lead to surrender. It lit a firestorm of pure, defiant rage. An act that nobody, literally nobody, could have seen coming. This one quote just captures his mindset perfectly. It wasn't logic, it wasn't even courage in the way we normally think about it. It was a complete and total break from reason, fueled by nothing but grief and fury. He decided that if this was going to be the end, he was going to face the architect of that end himself. I mean, just look at the sheer audacity of this. He doesn't gather what's left of his army. He rides completely alone. He doesn't lay a siege. He storms the very gates of Angband, the greatest fortress of evil in the world. And then he hammers on those gates and calls the most powerful being in existence a coward, demanding he come out and fight. This was never, ever a plan for survival. And, unbelievably, Morgoth accepts the challenge. What happens next isn't just a battle, it's a myth being forged in real time. A mortal standing against what is essentially a god and actually making him bleed. You know, the most shocking part of this entire fight can be boiled down to just one number: 7. That's how many times Fingolfin, the ultimate underdog, managed to wound the Dark Lord. Not once by some lucky shot, 7 separate times. It just shows you the absolute ferocity of his last stand. So, how was that even possible, right? Well, the dynamic of the fight was a perfect contrast. Morgoth had all the raw brute power, the immense size, the crushing darkness. But Fingolfin, he had speed, he had agility, and he had the light of the elves literally shining from his blade. It became this classic contest of pure swiftness against overwhelming force. And here's the crucial psychological piece of the puzzle. Morgoth's arrogance was his greatest weakness. As his primordial, godlike being, he saw everyone else as insects. The very idea that one of these gnats would not only dare to challenge him but could actually hurt him, it was completely unthinkable. He expected to squash a bug, not fight a hornet. This table is great because it basically charts Morgoth's psychological meltdown during the duel. That first wound, pure shock. By the 4th, that surprise has soured into real frustration and rage. And by that 7th and final wound, his composure is just gone. He's not fighting with any kind of strategy anymore. He's just a storm of uncontrolled fury, which Fingolfin keeps using to his advantage. But as we all know, this couldn't last forever, so now we're going to shift from the physical blows of the fight to its true lasting meaning, the permanent scar it left, not on a body, but on the very idea of evil itself. The outcome was, in a way, always going to be this. Fingolfin was still mortal, and after a long and terrible struggle, he was struck down. But his death, that is not the end of this story. In fact, it's the beginning of Morgoth's true defeat. And this is the central paradox of the entire duel, isn't it? Physically, yeah, Morgoth won. He stood over the body of his enemy. But psychologically, oh, he lost. Big time. The all-powerful Dark Lord was publicly wounded and humiliated by a single elf, a fact that he could never, ever escape. For Morgoth, this wasn't some glorious victory he could brag about. It was a moment of deep, profound shame. He was permanently injured by someone he considered less than dirt, a physical reminder of his failure that he would carry with him for the rest of time. So let's wrap this up by looking at the long-term impact. Because this duel wasn't just some cool story, it fundamentally changed the strategy of evil in Middle-earth forever. Fingolfin's sacrifice had real, concrete consequences. Morgoth limped for the rest of his existence, a constant, nagging reminder of his humiliation. But even more important was the lesson he learned, a lesson of fear. He never again came out of his fortress to face a champion alone. This became the unwritten rule for all future Dark Lords, including Sauron. Hide behind your armies, use your minions, but never, ever risk your own neck in a direct fight with a hero. And so that leaves us with this question. Fingolfin died, but his actions put a permanent scar on evil itself and created a fear that would protect future generations. Morgoth lived, but he was diminished and shamed for all time. It really makes you ask, in a battle like this, what does it truly mean to win?